grade. Welcome to Social Studies Online. For the next week and a half, we're going to be learning about the Constitution. England owned the colonies, and the king was taxing the colonists without letting them vote. Does anybody remember what we called this? Taxation without representation, and that's not fair. The colonists were tired of having the British tell them what to do. They didn't want the king telling them anymore, so the Revolutionary War began. The colonists won the war with George Washington as the leader of their army. So now the colonists were Americans without laws from the King of England. Right after the war, they had no more rules. Now, what would they do without any rules? Think about that. What would America be like if we didn't have any laws? People would be able to steal things that didn't belong to them. People could hurt others without any consequences. There would be no doctors to take care of us if we were sick. Driving on the roads would be very dangerous because there would be no rules on the road. Our food and water would not be safe to eat or drink. We could not worship God safely. These are just some of the things that could have happened without rules. Let's find out what the Americans did. Was now a free nation. It faced many changes. The American colonies were now called states. They were no longer colonies because the British did not own them anymore. After the Revolutionary War, each state set up its own government. America had 13 different states. Each state was set up just like a different country. The states did find a way to work together. They made a set of laws called the Articles of Confederation. It set up a national government for all 13 states. But the states were given way too much individual power. They were able to make choices that affected the other states, and it didn't bother them if it hurt the other states. Each state was able to choose how much tax that they gave to the people. Each state could decide if their people were going to join the American army or not. Each state could make a treaty with another country that other states couldn't do. For example, Virginia could make a deal or a bargain with France, but none of the other states could do the same thing. That wasn't fair. And finally, each state also had their own money. So each state had a different kind of money. There were 13 different types of money. How could you buy and sell things from state to state if you all have different money? It all caused quite a bit of problems. The national government could ask the states for money or for soldiers, but the states didn't have to do it if they didn't want to. As the states tried to work together, the new country faced many problems. The national government was weak. Its leaders were not always wise, and it owed a lot of money because of the Revolutionary War. Money that is owed is called debt. Debt is something that when you borrow something from somebody else, you have to give it back to them. And until you give it back to them, you owe them money. You have a debt to them. It's the same thing when if you buy a car or if you buy a house. You have to borrow the money from the bank. When you borrow the money from the bank, you have to pay the money back what you borrowed from them. And until you have it all paid off, you owe them money. So you have a debt to the bank to pay that. This is what happened when the Revolutionary War, and the states owed a lot of money. They were in debt because they had to pay their bills from the Revolutionary War. Many state governments had leaders who did not make good choices. They thought anyone could serve as a leader. Some leaders were selfish and made foolish laws. Some states also made their people pay higher taxes to pay off their debts. Taxes were way too high. Now, If leaders are making choices that are selfish, are they helping the rest of the people? No. Does God want us to be selfish leaders? No, He doesn't. God wants us to help other people. Because the new set of laws, the Articles of Confederation, were not working out very well, 12 states sent delegates to a convention or a meeting in Philadelphia. A delegate is a person who represents a group of people. The delegate's task was to make the Articles of Confederation stronger and better for the rest of the country. The delegates decided to write the United States Constitution. Now, a delegate is a person who represents other people. When your parents vote for a senator, that senator will go to the president and help make decisions for Florida. The senator is a delegate for the people in Florida. Now, not all the people in Florida could go talk to the president at the same time. There'd be too many people. There'd be no room to put everybody in the president's office to talk to him. So, we vote for a delegate to go for us and to talk for us. This is a room full of different delegates in this picture. They were all voted on by different people from different states. And these are all delegates that represent all the different people and all the different states of our country to help run our government. One of the delegates that was in that meeting was George Washington. He wanted to serve his country. He did not seek power. He was not selfish, and he was definitely not foolish. This made people more hopeful. Most Americans trusted Washington to make wise choices. When the delegates chose Washington as their leader, many people believed that the convention would solve the nation's problems. The state delegates gathered at the Constitutional Convention. They met in the summer of 1787 in Philadelphia. The delegates had big goals. Many of those men had helped write their state constitutions, and they knew what laws worked and what laws didn't. They knew what would make a good law and what would make an icky law. They wanted a balanced type of government, a republic. Representatives run the government. People in a republic take part in government through representatives that they elect. Remember earlier we talked about the delegates. A delegate was someone who we voted for that would talk for us in the government. Because the people in America get to vote and get to elect who our delegates are, we are a republic. The people we vote for are the people who are in charge of our government. Delegates took 4 months to write the Constitution. Many times they did not agree with each other, but they didn't stop. They kept on talking and they kept on compromising. They finally finished the plan for America's new government. Benjamin Franklin, a delegate from Pennsylvania, helped write the Constitution, and you can see it right there on the $100 bill. Franklin said that all the delegates should vote for the Constitution. He thought it was the best Constitution they could make. Most of the delegates agreed with Franklin. They signed the Constitution. But the Constitution needed more work to become a law. The Constitution was good, but it was missing some things. Come back tomorrow and we'll find out what was missing and what the problems the delegates had to solve to get the Constitution to become law. If you have not turned in your homework assignment from yesterday, please do that today because it is going to be counted as a daily grade. So right now I want you to be safe and have a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.